Hello, good morning. Well, morning here. Welcome to Dice and Bolts, episode number 3, second game system. What I am looking at today is a fairly generic system that's been modified and tinkered with and adapted and changed and played with, and I think has gone. I don't know if a game system can go viral. It is the Powered by the Apocalypse system, which is a kind of core, I think it's a concept rather than a system, that was first put out by Vincent of Lumpley Games in his game Apocalypse World. I think some of the roots of it can be traced back to one of his earlier games, Dogs in the Vineyard, which is one that I remember seeing many, many years ago, but didn't quite click with it at the time. I came across it in the form of Dungeon World by Adam Coble and Sage Latora, and it took me a while to get the game because I was coming from a very straightforward game system, a lot of D20 system, that sort of thing. I was coming from that kind of background, and I saw it and I thought, yeah, okay. And then I read it and I reread it, and then I reread it, and then something clicked. And yeah, the core system itself, absolutely spot on. It is very simple and it's been adapted, and I've got games that go all the way from I don't actually have Apocalypse World, but I've got Dungeon World, got Worldwide Wrestling RPG from Nathan Paoletta. Absolutely fantastic, best wrestling game I've come across so far. I've got Masks, which is a teen superheroes game. I've got Urban Shadows, which is World of Darkness done right. I've got Farflung, which is like a gonzo end of the universe sci-fi thing. I've just backed Descent into Midnight, which is an underwater social exploration thing. I've seen all sorts of Powered by the Apocalypse hacks, and the core concept of it is really quite different. The core mechanic is simple. It is simple as anything, and it is literally 2d6, nice and simple. 2d6, add a stat. So the stats are different based on the games that you're playing. So say, for example, Dungeon World, you've got standard D20X, BX, OSR, whatever you call it, strength, intelligence, dexterity, whatever. And you've got a modifier for each one of those. So your modifier might be +3. So again, you are a fighter, you're attacking an orc. An orc has an armor class. Sorry, no. Yeah, forget that bit. You're a fighter, you're attacking an orc. You make your roll. The move that you're making, and this is where it took me a while to get a hold of it, you make moves. Your move will tell you what stat to add. So if I very quickly share not that one there. So this basic move at the top here, hack and slash. So you want to attack the orc, that's a hack and slash move. When you attack an enemy in melee, roll plus strength. So we have a 9 there, and if our strength is +3, nice and simple. On 10 plus, you deal your damage to the enemy and avoid their attack. So this is another one of those systems where the GM rolls no dice. So you attack the orc, you get a 10 plus on your total, you do your damage, which for a fighter is D10, nice and simple, and you avoid their attack. On a 7 to 9, you deal your damage to the enemy, and the enemy makes an attack against you. So the enemy then deals its damage to you. In the case of an orc, 1d6 plus 1. Nice and simple. On the 10 plus, you've got the option, at your option, you may choose to do plus 1d6 damage, but expose yourself to the enemy's attack. So you can do 1d10 plus 1d6, but the enemy's going to get to attack you as well. And that's the same, and that's the core of absolutely everything. 2d6 plus a modifier, normally just a single modifier. I very rarely see these kind of things go higher than +4 or +5 maybe, at a most. 10 or higher, complete success. You do what you wanted to do, no side effects, no comeuppance. 7 to 9 is the yes, but you hit the orc, you pick the lock, but it takes a bit longer. The orc does some damage to you. You drop something when you're running away from somebody, that sort of thing. And on a 6 or less, the GM gets to make a move. So this is usually, you put yourself on a spot, you're going to get hit back, you're going to drop your weapon, you're going to do all sorts of different things. Where this gets super elegant, and this is the bit that takes a while to figure out, is that these are just the basic moves that everybody can do. Okay, hack and slash, which is attack somebody in melee; volley, attack somebody in range. And these are the moves just for Dungeon World. Okay, these moves are customized. So the unleash and attack from Urban Shadows, which is their version of a melee attack, is going to be very different from hack and slash, because Urban Shadows is less combat focused and more social focused. Is that a lot of custom moves will say, so this is the Gladiator playbook, which is which is one that I've pulled off the internet from somewhere. Are you not entertained? There's a custom move. When you grandstand for the benefit of an audience. So you say, right, okay, well, I'm gonna send around and do this. It's like, you don't say, I'm going to make this move. You say what you are doing, and then you work out which move fits that. So it's fiction first, that sort of thing. But it's all got the core thing. Now, some moves may then turn around and have specific instructions as to what happens on a miss. So if you get a 6 or less, would say, on a miss, this happens or that happens. I'm just very quickly looking to see if I can find Urban Shadows basic moves. So again, hopefully you should be able to see that one there. Nothing on a 6 or less. Generally speaking, on a 6 or less, things go quite badly wrong. So this game and the Powered by the Apocalypse system, effectively, rather than going like, what did we look at yesterday? AGE. Rather than saying, yes, you do it, no, you don't do it, it says, yes, you do it with no comeuppance. Yes, you do it, but, and no, you don't do it, and. Because there's none of that dead end, you fail to pick the lock. You fail to impress the Duke. Either you're going to do it, you're going to flub it and have consequences, or you're going to do it with side effects. Fairly simple and straightforward. They're all done on 2d6, which is something that absolutely everybody's got. Some of the systems just use 2d6s and then nothing else. So I mentioned Urban Shadows. You know, you don't roll for damage in that because it's not a crunchy damage based game. Far Flung, the damage system in that is quite different. It's sort of fairly abstract. Dungeon World, because it's a kind of take on dungeon bashing, each, you know, you use a set of polyhedral dice for rolling damage and so on. But the majority of the systems that I've had, on the wrestling game, you know, there's no damage in that. It's not, there's no damage mechanic for it. You can get your character, character injured, but that's not the same as losing a match or taking a punch, because it's pro wrestling, nice and simple. I think I could possibly do a separate video on each one of these systems. I'm not going to, because these are meant to be simple, straightforward. So yeah, Powered by the Apocalypse, 2d6 plus a stat, 10 plus for a complete success, 7 to 9 for a yes, but, and 6 or less for no, and. Fantastic. That's next one. So let me know in the comments if there's anything else or any specific systems you want me to have a look at. Roll well, and I'll see you soon.